right, Drew. Let's move on. Let's talk about some NBA playoffs here. Obviously, we have until Thursday, but the Raptors surprised both of us. We were both Buck guys. Maybe we jinxed them. Maybe all the experts jinxed them.
We got to disagree.
Everybody else, right. Do you see them holding up against Golden State? I know we're shifting gears here pretty quick, but going into the NBA playoffs here, can you see the Raptors holding up against a team like Golden State, Durant or not? Obviously, Durant's been ruled out for Game 1. He's not going to play in that. I don't know if he's going to play the whole thing. I think he's hurt worse than they're letting on. But let's say Durant doesn't come back. Can the Raptors legitimately have a shot at winning this? They have home court.
Yeah, it's going to be exactly what Kawhi did in the Celtics game. And what he did in the series, and the Bucks series. But it's going to have to be a little bit more. Instead of averaging, I think it was like 38 points a game, he's going to need to average 42. He's going to have to average, 10 rebounds and 10 assists. His bench and Marc Gasol, who is should be a key point in this series because they kind of lack at that big man scenario. Marc Gasol's going to have to go back to what he was kind of like in Memphis. This is literally going to be an issue where it's not going to be just Kawhi playing top tier. It's going to have to be the rest of his team around him. And one of the things we both said was the bench out of Toronto has to be good during this Bucks scenario.
It has to be great.
But guess what? Now they have to be great. It isn't just good. Good is not good enough. It needs to be great. As much as I want to sit there and say Toronto can win this series and I can see them winning it in 7, I don't even see the game going to 7. I think without Kevin Durant, it makes no difference. This Warriors team is built to go long into the season, long in the playoffs, and long into the finals. They've done it too many years in a row. These guys know exactly how to win. And as much as Kawhi deserves a title away from Tim Duncan, away from Tony Parker and Popovich, I don't think it's going to be this year. I think that they found the wrong team at the wrong time, even though it is the finals. I just think the Warriors have what it takes to be champions. I think that's what you wanted this. You were talking about their top scorer going down, and they didn't seem to miss a beat. This is exactly what you expected championship teams, and this is exactly what the Warriors are. All that being said, I don't want the Warriors to win. I want Toronto to win this series, but they're not. Warriors are going to beat them in 6.
Now, Brian says he's got the Warriors in 5. Will says the Raptors in 7. And Scott says Kawhi was killing the Warriors before he was injured. I agree. He's had those short stints where he was playing really, really well and able to do enough, kind of like we saw with the Bucks, where he was able to take the game over, put everything on his shoulders, and carry the load. Can he do it through a 7-game series, I should say. I don't know. I look at this and look at the way... he's already had to do it one series before going up against the Bucks. He's already kind of had to shut down a guy like Giannis, who, let's face it, is physically demanding to sit there and play defense against him. Now he's got to go play the Warriors right after that when they've been resting, they've been relaxed. I'm worried about it. I really am. I think probably I'm going to say Warriors in 6. I think Kawhi's going to do enough to snag 1 or 2 of these games at home, maybe 1 on the road in Golden State, where the Raptors are going to be able to put up a little more fight than some of these other teams in the NBA because of Kawhi. But I still see Golden State winning it. Durant, no Durant. Cousins, no Cousins. They still have the better roster. They still have 3 superstars when Kawhi's out there by himself. And everyone's going to say Siakam and everyone else. Look, it's Kawhi's team. They live and die by Kawhi at this point. When things get tough, it's got to run through him. I just don't know that he's beating a team of 3 superstars instead of a team with 1 like the Bucks were. Even that, it took a lot of kind of rallying for the Bucks to get there. They lost the first 2 games. Now he's tired. You can't start slow against these Warriors and expect to beat them like that.
No, you definitely can't. Dustin says that the Raptors want to beat the Warriors. Lowry has to show up and help Kawhi. Lowry is just streaky, and even if he does show up every game, I don't think they have enough to stop Steph and the Warriors right now, man. I am in complete agreement with you.
And how about the Splash Brothers revival?
I mean, it's not just Lowry. I'm telling you, it's Marc Gasol. It's the rest of the bench. It's all these guys have to literally put up some of the best games they've done all year, maybe possibly their whole career.
And I think the NBA is almost happy it is Kawhi, because I think Kawhi Leonard by himself makes the series more interesting. I like Giannis as a player. I think he's a good one. I think the Bucks are a better team, but even as good of a team they are against the Raptors, do I sit there and say they're going to hold a candle to Golden State? No, it'd probably be the same deal. Giannis would have a great series. Draymond would do what he can to limit him, but I think Giannis would be able to overpower him, have some good games, maybe win 1 or 2 of these, but we would not see the dominance and the way that Kawhi Leonard plays that's able to shut these guys out and maybe take some of these games over. So I think this is still the best matchup of what was left out of anyone to face the Warriors. I just don't think they have the firepower. At the end of the day, in the NBA, it comes down to the guns. Here's my other point I want to make before we move on here, Drew. I want to sit there and say that so much of the NBA's future hinges on this series. And everyone wants to write it off. Everyone's ready to sit there and say the Warriors are going to win and it's not going to matter and how boring it is. But I think there's a lot at play here. I think if the Raptors get swept or the Raptors go down in 5 and they don't put much of a fight up here, Kawhi leaves Toronto. I don't think Kawhi is going to stick around and say, the whole pitch in Toronto was, man, you can win here. And we made the finals. That's great. But if Golden State comes in and just backhands them, you're going to leave still, right? You get all the choices. You're going to go somewhere else and say, I'm going to be able to make things happen by myself.
Yeah.
Or at the place I choose to go to. If they do hang with them, I think you can convince Kawhi to stay in Toronto. You can say, look, we took it to 6. We took it to 7. We add a piece. We draft somebody who's good enough to come in. Siakam gets another year or 2 to develop himself. We can beat this Warriors team, especially if Durant walks. So there is a lot on the table, at least for these two franchises right now, for whether guys stick around or not. Another one. Go ahead. Do you want to?
No. Go ahead. If you finish your points.
One more point here. Durant, another thing, just like Kawhi, has a lot riding on this series. I think if the Warriors dominate and they win without Durant, he's going to leave. Why would you stay and let your legacy be you joined a team that didn't need you to win some rings and put them on the finger and pad your stats? If they do well without him, he is going to walk.
Yeah.
If they struggle and he can come back and play with a little bit of health, whether they win or not, he's going to stick around, and he's going to sit there and say, this team needs me to succeed. This team needs me to win. This could be my team. This could be my legacy. If they roll over the Raptors, you have to walk if you're Kevin Durant. Otherwise, your entire career becomes he ran away from the Thunder because he wasn't good enough to do it by himself and joined the guys who won without him.
I agree. I mean, no, you're
that was
good.
a lot.
That was great. No, you're right. I just want to catch up on some of these comments before we move. We don't have to comment back to you, but I just want to reach out to everyone that's commenting here. Scott says Kawhi is a flat out has a heart of a champion. I think that was part of my comment when I was sitting there saying that the Warriors are a champion built team, and I wasn't trying to sit there and say Kawhi wasn't. Will says Kawhi is fun to watch. Justin says the Raptors aren't deep enough. I think we're both agreeing with that. Brian says
we're going to need some magic out of guys like Fred VanVleet that we haven't been talking about.
Brian just comments was Warriors have way too many great players for the Raptors to stop them. VanVleet, who by the way is a Wichita State boy again, just had to let everyone know has been on fire ever since his son was born and still not good enough to beat the Warriors. And then Will, he's saying Kawhi's going to Dallas and also Durant to Dallas. Man, you must be a Mavericks fan there.
Well, they got Porzingis. They already have Luka Doncic as well, so they've already got something. If you land one more guy, this is a team that can win a title in Dallas. And I think Mark Cuban is going to be on the phone a lot this offseason trying to make that one guy come there.
Talk about an owner that's willing to spend some money.
Exactly. They just traded for Porzingis. I think they'll do whatever it takes to bring one more star in, especially if all it comes down to is spending a little bit of cash.
Right.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Also, Durant, I don't know where he's going. I've heard the Knicks. I don't think any of these guys have decided this is where I'm going. I think there's going to be long conversations, just like Game of Thrones, in dark rooms where these guys are talking to each other saying, man, what are you going to do? What are we going to do? How much money do they have? Can we all earn? Can we all make money and go do something? Can I go here by myself and win? Can you come with me and the two of us do it by ourselves? Does this team have the bench? There's going to be so much calculus done for these teams in the offseason. Do I think anyone's doing it right now? Except for LeBron, no. I think LeBron has been the kind of guy in the forefront of recruiting here. Beyond that, if you're still in, I don't think you're thinking about it. You're thinking, I want this ring, and then my legacy. I'll think about my legacy in the offseason.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, make sure you subscribe to our page here and throw us a like if you don't mind.
Guys, remember this is Sports Around the Bar, so grab your favorite drinks, join one of the fastest growing communities on YouTube. We can't wait to hear from you.